What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? As we begin another live stream, the final one for the month of January. Haha. I know it's not April Fool's. I know I'm not trying to pull the wool over you guys, but it is January the 28th in the year of our Lord 2026. This is a celebratory day, not only because we're alive and breathing, but when I think back on this day, I think back on a couple of people. First and foremost, Risa Saslow Nicholson, an old friend of mine, a Cincinnati Bengal fan that we used to watch games together as a diehard Steeler fan that I am at an old bar called Blondie's. And if you've watched anything on my YouTube channel, and when it comes to my two vlogs, and I know I haven't really broadcasted it or I haven't really put it out there the way I should have as far as promoting it, etc., which I will do so starting this week because I have not one, but two coming at you Sunday, which I'll talk about later on. But I want to give her a birthday shout out as she celebrates another year of life. We also have another birthday shout out, which I'm going to get to in a little while. I'm going to save that one, but it is celebratory, like I mentioned, and I do want to give that person their flowers, their shine, which we will discuss a little bit later on. Also, today is the anniversary of Super Bowl 30, 30 years ago to the day when the Steelers lost to the Cowboys. And I remember that day vividly, of course, because that was an opportunity for the Steelers to win 3 Super Bowls against their longtime rivals from the NFC. And obviously it didn't happen thanks to Neil O'Donnell, as we all know. But I think back to 30 years. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's even unfathomable to think that that game took place 30 years ago. I want to make sure I'm in the shot here for those who are watching on your phone. So I don't want to be left, right, got to be square right in the middle. So for that day on the 28th, 30 years, geez. And the funny thing is, I was with my cousin JD and his brother Josh, my other cousin, who was a Steeler fan at the time. And JD has been a lifelong Cowboy fan. And it's funny because if I would have told him on that day, after the confetti came down for the third time in 4 years, where the Cowboys matched the Steelers as far as, or really they surpassed them when you think about it, because the Steelers didn't win their 5th Super Bowl until 2006 or the 2005 season. And if I would have told him on that day that, JD, not only will you not get to another Super Bowl and win, but you won't even make a conference championship game. If I would have told him that 30 years ago tonight, he would have told me, I know you never smoked weed, bro, but you got to get off it. Because if you are beyond high. And here it is 30 years later, and they have not been to a Super Bowl nor an NFC championship game, which really is mind-blowing when you think about it, considering that they are the Dallas Cowboys. But that's what we got there. Of course, share your thoughts in the chat room, as always. To my regulars, I'll get to the comments in a minute. We will banter back and forth. This is your opportunity to get at me, to ask any questions, debate, etc. So we'll talk about that. And those who are watching on the replay, leave a comment. You already know the deal, even though this will be recorded and on the channel in the books for quite some time. But if you happen to watch it, whether it be later this evening, well, if you're watching live, obviously live. But for those who are watching it, whether it's late Wednesday night, Thursday, whatever day it may be, definitely leave a comment. I'll be more than happy to follow up. So, all right, let me get to the comments real quick. I know they're starting to pile up in the room. And then I want to get to a couple of things because I also have a special guest in 12 minutes. Yes, 12 minutes. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. Fishing Angel, good morning to you. Well, now it's afternoon, but I'm sure you probably, when you live, what time was that? You know what? Good morning, afternoon. No, it's a good day overall. And Fishing Angel is to you. I do have juice in the fridge, but this is just, it's actually bubbly here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, and that's not seltzer. I'm not a seltzer guy, although I think I may have shared this with you. I'll get to that later on. It's H2O, but we will get into the NFL and one particular thing that actually is just, it's crazy. But anyway, Eagles OC job is a crap show. Nobody wants a job. Yeah, and the Browns hired Todd Monken, the former Raven offensive coordinator, as their head coach, and nobody wanted that job. So Todd Monken, good luck to you as far as that goes. And yes, you know what? I'm going to start off with the banner here before I even get to J-Rod's comment. Our guy, J-Rod the Damager, diehard of the live stream, of the channel, etc. Now, I was going to have J-Rod on at 1 o'clock. He was going to be my guest at 1, he and Fishing Angel. But considering last night he was at the Chrysler Center screaming his head off for his Michigan Wolverines to beat Nebraska. And it's funny because I think about Nebraska real quick. Nebraska is probably, I don't want to say probably, that's a little bit strong. Nebraska is on the trajectory of the Indiana Hoosiers. And you're probably thinking to yourself, what? Indiana Hoosiers? What are you talking about, J Reels? Well, remember, we saw a week or so ago the Indiana Hoosiers win in college football, where we know that's a basketball school. And here it is, Nebraska, known as a football school, but the basketball team ranked 5th in the nation. They'll go back a couple of pegs after the loss last night in Ann Arbor. But who knows? Could it be a scenario where the Cornhuskers will now get themselves to a position where they can make a run? Now, granted, we're still in the month of January. We haven't even hit conference championship week. Obviously, March Madness is still 7 weeks away from it commencing. And could Nebraska do something that no one could ever imagine or even fathom? Them on the road to maybe a Final Four, and dare I even say a national championship, similar to what we saw with the Indiana Hoosiers as far as football goes? A long shot. A lot of basketball to be played, but that's something to throw out there now. Maybe as a receipt later on down the road. So we'll see what happens with that. But happy birthday to my guy, J-Rod. Much appreciate you. Thank you so much for all you've done to support the channel, support me, podcast, etc. So happy birthday goes to you. And let me get to your comment here because, of course, just so people don't think, well, I skipped that. Hang on a second. Here we go. Right now, right then and there, it is his birthday. So one more time, happy birthday. Many, many more to come. I hope you enjoy your day. And, yeah, drink a lot of tea, get that voice back, because I can only imagine it was certainly hairy there down the stretch, considering that Nebraska gave the Wolverines a run for their money. And, yes, Fishing Angel, of course, I'm sure she's given them plenty of birthday shout-outs in person, face-to-face, etc. And now here in the room. I love it. Cool picture of the Keith McPherson meeting. I saw it on X. Oh, thank you, Minnesota Vets. And he's going to be my guest in 8 minutes. So he's going to be on here with me. Minnesota Fats, a.k.a. Rhoda, a.k.a. Everyday Mets, a.k.a. Dad's Chips, a.k.a. Tatsuya and my, so on and so forth. Yes, J-Rod shouting everybody out. Of course, Val B out in the West Coast, Bay Area, with the love. Getting text here. Oh, as a matter of fact, hang on a second. All right, I'll get to that in a minute. Of course, Val. All the love here. Yeah, just another day. But you know what? You're alive and breathing. So, J-Rod, that means you're winning. So, we definitely got to celebrate that. Back in college, online class of math. All right. Good for you, Val. Keep striving. Keep doing your thing. I love it. That's all I want to see with everybody here. Yep, celebrating hubby's birthday. You already know. Should the Eagles offer John? You know what? And he'll go back to his roots, because remember, I believe he started his coaching chops in Philadelphia under Andy Reid. So you know what? Why not? Now, I don't know. Would they do that? Will Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, do that? I would like to see him do that. Why not? And listen, I understand Gruden, the emails, etc. Listen, he's done his time. I don't know if Roger Goodell, I guess he's not really suspended, but I don't know if anybody wants to take that responsibility to maybe have that burden, for lack of a better word, to where the organization, and listen, this is an organization that brought in Michael Vick after the dogfighting. So you know what? I guess you could bring in, and maybe that would be a good spot for John Gruden to get back into coaching. Why not? That always, hey, why not? It is his birthday, but that's popping up. This thing is, I don't know, it's my mouse. Who knows? Did anyone see the highlights of the Sharks game? Mac and Celebrini. Yes, and the funny thing is about that, Val, is I think they had that graphic on Twitter or on X where he and Will Smith are only but a handful of teammates to have X amount of points, goals, whatever, 20 years of age or under. They are going to be a stud team, granted they keep everybody together, as you already know. Glad to hear that, Val B. That's important. I know I reached out to you yesterday with that, but that's good. I'm glad you brought us absolutely. Yeah, be grateful you're alive. Yeah, we know about that. True in Kingdom, and that's sad. And obviously, I'm not going to unpack that right now. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right about that. But yes, be grateful that we are alive and that we're all here together. being lazy, staying in bed, watching on TV, typing on our phones. Hey, it's the world we live in, 2026. You know? Wait, news. Sorry, Val B. Wait, did I miss something here? Val, I know you said it went well. All right. Does Rodgers now stay as McCarthy's coach? I don't think so. And I think Steele's got to get off that. Now, who knows? They're probably going to try to reel him in because what are they going to do? They're not going to be able to draft anybody, Zip. They're, going to draft somewhere in the upper teens? I should know their draft slot as of now, but I do not. I should know that. Isn't that crazy? But I'm not even thinking about the draft, to be honest with you, because I feel like they are not, unless they're going to trade up. And obviously, what are they going to trade? They don't really have much stock. Listen, I'm going to get to some of the comments in a little bit. I see a couple of comments here. Let me get to this to start off before I introduce our guest of the day. Number one, Bill Belichick. We already know the news. I am not a Patriot fan. I'm not a Bill Belichick supporter. But let's face it, he got robbed here. And people can talk about the cheating scandals. You want to talk about Spygate? Okay. You want to talk about the Deflategate? All right. Have at it. That's fine. But the guy did win if you want to take those two Super Bowls away, because remember, Spygate obviously was against the Rams. The Deflategate was the Seahawk Super Bowl. Because remember, Tom Brady got suspended those first 4 games of that season. Now, nothing happened to Belichick, of course. But with that being said, he did win 4 of the Super Bowls, including being down 28-3. And the other Super Bowls, I understand he lost the 2 to the Giants, which are huge. I'm sure you'd like to trade one of those back, especially for the 18-0 season. But how is this guy not in the first ballot? And everybody's going to go to the cheating scandals, and I'm sure that there are writers out there that have a vendetta against Belichick and don't want to hear it as far as, let him sweat a little bit. He's going to get in, etc. But even still, his credentials and his resume is second to none. Maybe not Vince Lombardi. Lombardi being 9-1 in his postseason career with all the championships and the 2 Super Bowls to start off the Super Bowl era back in 1966 into 67. But how he got jobbed here is unfathomable. I mean, come on. Second all-time in wins, 31 playoff wins, all the Super Bowl appearances, 2 as a defensive coordinator with the Giants, as you all know. And for him to not be elected in the first ballot is criminal. Sports malpractice. Actually, a writer's malpractice. And I get it that when it comes to the Hall of Fame, unless, and this is baseball, but unless you're Mariano Rivera, who got 100%, and understandably, rightfully, and deservedly so, Derek Jeter should have gotten the same thing, and he only got 98 point or 99 point, whatever it was, because there was that one voter or one writer that didn't have him on his ballot. And all right, you want to have a couple of guys that are rogue? I'm not going to vote for that. Fine. But he needed to get 40 of the 50 votes. He didn't even get that. I mean, come on, what are we doing here? So to me, how I look at it is, and I said this on the channel yesterday, how I look at it for the writers who are looking at not only the players, but also the contributors. And I'm sure you know by now, Robert Kraft is elected or is on deck to be into the Hall of Fame based on him being a contributor. And how I look at it and how I see it from afar, because of their dissolved relationship, and obviously he got slaughtered in the Dynasty documentary on Apple, I'm sure Robert Kraft didn't want Bill Belichick on the same podium as he when it comes to being enshrined in Canton there in the first weekend of August? So that's how I look at it. And I'm not trying to say, he had some deal with the writers or whatever. And I understand that the writers are going to keep him out based on the cheating aspect of it. But I can see if he won 2 Super Bowls, or let's say he won 3 Super Bowls, and 2 of the Super Bowls happen to be Spygate and Deflategate. All right. You want to not get him in for that? Fine. But what about the other Super Bowls he's won? And not only that, but because Robert Kraft is going to be elected, and if Jerry Jones is in the Hall of Fame, and he shouldn't be, let's face it, I understand for the business aspect and everything he has done there, fine. But for Kraft, 6 Super Bowls. This franchise was about to go to St. Louis when he purchased it. And now all of a sudden Belichick's not going to be on the first ballot only because, Kraft is going to go in and the writers are going to put him in. And obviously with them going to the Super Bowl this year, on top of them being on the verge to getting a record 7th Super Bowl win, I mean, this was a layup. 100%. So when it comes to Robert Kraft, and we'll talk about this with my guest, which I'll now segue and introduce him. I was fortunate and blessed to be in his presence there in a content creator forum on Sunday down in the frozen West Village of Lower Manhattan. And, of course, you've probably seen or heard him on WFAN here in New York. He's been everywhere. He's been doing a lot of things. He's actually pivoted, which we'll get into. But I'm going to introduce my man, my mellow, and even mentioned last night, hey, I could hop on for about a half hour today. I said, hell yeah, let's do it. Welcome to the stage, my man, Keith McPherson.
Yeah, Jay, what up? What up, man? Thanks for having me. Thanks for reaching out, and I'm glad I could make it. I'm glad I had a couple minutes on the day that you record. That was the first thing I asked, right? Like, yo, you recording tomorrow? All right, bet I'm in there.
Yes, absolutely. And listen, got to roll out the red carpet for you, my man, because obviously you're doing big things. Obviously you got a legion of fans and a legion of people out there that support you. I'm one of them. And before we even get to what's going on with you, and I understand you've done a few shows here at WFAN, but with that and your pivot, et cetera, but the inspiration that you become here. And to me, I want you to share that with all of us, because here's somebody, people, that obviously has been on the air for 4 years. He's done a lot of different things. Maybe he'll get into that if he so wishes. But for him to take his time out now to do this, as well as the content creator, as well as many other things, where does that stem from, my man? Is that growing up, family? Is that just in your nature? Please share the generosity that you are when it comes to hosting events like this, and of course, jumping on lives, not only just mine, but a bunch of other people and other content creators like myself have done.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's a little bit of both. Growing up, I knew I had to get out of my situation. And, when you come from a divided household where your parents are split, it's just mom's got to work multiple jobs. My brother was the first one to go to college, and he had to take out student loans. He didn't graduate, and he was 10 years older than me. So I'm kind of seeing that, and I'm like, I don't want that to be me. And by the time he got out of school, I got pretty good at football, and I took a football scholarship to get to college. And like, I always felt like I was on my own. I always felt like, yo, you don't have the financial backing, you don't have the nepotism, you don't have anybody to even kind of put your name on a list or take your resume and get you a job. Like, you got to figure it out. And the fact that I have figured it out to this extent, I figured it out this much, I think it would be super selfish of me to not pay it forward. I think it would be hella weird to not give back and share some free game. When I'm rich, I'm going to be giving back financially and giving people, some money and some funds. But the least I could do right now is help pull people up. And we're in this space right now where it's more open than ever. It's more wide open forever. You could put a video out today that has 100,000 views, and then in a week it goes viral. You could put something out today that gets in front of somebody that has a business, has money, has opportunity, sees you and says, come on in. And that was how I got on. And so even with the content creator thing, the content creator roundtable, my message when I was promoting it was, like, I don't come from money. I don't come from nepotism. I went to Monmouth University, but that's not like a powerhouse. That's not a factory. That's not like Fordham or Syracuse where they've got people all over New York working in media. And nobody at Monmouth helped me get an opportunity. I used the internet. I started putting myself out there on camera. I started practicing speaking better and looking into the camera. I started learning how to edit videos. And when I quit my first job in 2018, it was hard. I struggled. I had to drive Lyft Uber. But the reason that I was driving Lyft Uber was because I was creating content at night and during the day where I knew I couldn't commit 40 hours a week to a job. I worked at a restaurant. I sold my Jordans that I kept in good shape. I sold Derek Jeter collector items and stuff like that just to make ends meet. This is now, 2018 going into 2019. And then my first big break was the Yes Network. And I swear I was just looking up to the sky. I knew, like, yo, I did it fast. I thought it was going to take 10 years. I thought it would be 2028 before I catch a big break. But one thing leads to another. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. The dominoes can fall for you. And they've fallen for me. I've already won. Why wouldn't I help somebody else? Why wouldn't I share my platform? Look at the platform I've built, right? I took social media and got a radio gig with no prior radio experience. I didn't even have a demo. I didn't have a reel. They had enough information from podcasts, YouTube content, and social media to say, he's got it. He'll figure it out. And I figured it out for 4 years. And then the next thing I figured out was that working at night was messing up my relationship with my wife and my son and ruining my work-life balance and my at-home. And I've quit jobs before, and I knew that I had to step down. Even though I'm still under contract, I'll be back on the fan Friday at 7, and I hope to do more fill-in spots and do little shows here and there, which I think has been good. But like I noticed the stress that I was putting on my wife day and night, and she works full-time, and I was watching my son grow up and become this little boy that wanted his dad more. And boom, it just hit me. I'm like, this is it. I did 4 years, and when I got to my calendar 4-year mark, I stepped down. And in this last 2 months, all I've done publicly is post content, collab with others, give people game, have conversations with people on their podcasts. And I knew I could give people a boost right now, right? I thought about it. When I announced that I was stepping down from WFAN, that video went viral. 7.5 million on Twitter, 80,000 on Instagram, a bunch of more thousands on YouTube and TikTok. And so what I knew was, okay, people are looking at me. People in the industry are looking at me. People are looking at me that want me to fail. What do I do with this attention? I put myself out there like I've always done, but I continue to give back and send the rope down to pull people up. So maybe somebody else will get an opportunity. Somebody else will get put on. Somebody else will connect some business or connect the dots to something because I was the vessel. I funneled somebody into their channel, into their Instagram, into their podcast because everybody was looking at me. And you know, you saw it. I hit you yesterday. I was like, bro, that reel you put out. I'm like, yo, collab with me, bro. I'm
That's
like,
good.
make sure you collab with me, like, so that I can amplify the reach. You know, I'm like, and I know you're modest and I know you're grinding, doing your thing, but I'm like, nah, you came to my event. Don't just tag me, collab with me, and I'll put it on my page so more people will see it.
Definitely. No, and that was the thing because, listen, I knew once you put that out there, I think it was January 2nd, I said, oh, I'm in there. And then just to get the vibe and everybody that was there and the love and just, I mean, listen, it's one of those things where I still, be honest, 100% here, Keith, I'm still off the high from that because when you're around like-minded people, as you said that day, and when you are just talking with other people, trying to, like you said, boost their channels, boost their profiles, etc. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's not about like, oh, you only have 200 followers, or oh, you only have, you know, whatever, how many subscribers. It's not about
Bro,
that.
I just got off of a back and forth before I got on here because I put a video out last night talking about how the algorithm doesn't decipher between haters and supporters. They just count the numbers, right? The algorithm doesn't know who's hating and who's saying you're the best. It's just counting the impressions. It's just counting the views. And I just was going back and forth with this guy, and he said something like, oh, you're so tough with your 3 likes. And I go, and your 2 comments. Thanks. Like, like, what are you saying? I don't know you. You're on my page, commenting on me, going back at me, and then trying to belittle me for the numbers. You're adding to the numbers. You know a quick way to, like, belittle my numbers instead of verbalizing that? Don't be here. Don't like anything. Don't comment. You're just adding to it. Thank you. Because when I go to my pitch deck at the end of the month and somebody wants to work with Keith McPherson and I can write 2 million impressions a month, you were included in that. So thank you for the time. Thank you for the time that you spent hating on my page.
No, exactly. No, 100%. And now I want to talk about your pivot because I know you mentioned that just a second ago. And interestingly enough, I know when we had our first conversation, and it's on the channel too. You could go back in the archives when I had Keith on. This was actually during the Yankee-Philly series. You came on that afternoon, and I know you're on your phone as the Yankees were ready to sweep the Phillies. I don't know if you recall that, but
yeah.
I had him on for an hour, but for the first 45 minutes, we were talking about his journey. And it's interesting because just like he said, he'd been on WFAN, still on the contract, which is great, but for 4 years, and they had to realize that he had to pivot. And I'm sure a lot of people at the time were probably saying that, oh, because WFAN were going through some personnel changes. And I'm sure as you put forth on your platforms where people probably thought, oh, you got the axe, or oh, they probably forced you to quit or whatever, which is nonsense. I mean, please. But with that being said, I'm sure as much as that was a no-brainer, but because of your character, because of the way you're built, it's just one of those things where you're like, oh, well, I have to do this. It's not only going to be best for me, but for my family, where a lot of people just, I'm on the radio. I got to keep doing this. And then obviously their world falls apart. But you had the wherewithal to know, like, I got to do this. Obviously, I'm sure it was a tough decision, but you know that family has to come first, which obviously I admire you for. And just goes to show you that there's always going to be another door that opens. Not to say that this one's closed, but from a standpoint of, I got this. We all got this. And I'm just going to go full steam ahead.
Yeah, I was that guy for 2.5 years. My son is almost 3. I did the nighttime job with a screaming, kicking baby in my house, waking up at all kinds of time in the morning. I never slept right. I used to drink a lot more because I just had this pressure of, I got to be this radio host. I got this job. I'm on WFAN. People would kill to have this job. This is what I work for. This is what I dream for. I went to college. I studied radio. I did it. I made it. I got to push through. Yeah. And then when I realized it was affecting my mental health, it was affecting my sleep. It was, so detrimental to my actual health. I had never been as sick as I was. I remember I got the shingles and I was like, what is this? I got the flu multiple times. I had COVID during it. And I'm like, oh, I'm run down. Not only am I run down, I'm under pressure. Some nights I can't go to sleep getting off that radio because I'm just staring at the ceiling like, yo, I just interviewed Warren Moon. I'm staring at the ceiling like, yo, I had a ton of calls. People are telling me I'm the GOAT. People are telling me I'm the best. People are telling me I'm their favorite host. This is crazy. And what I'll say is this. I couldn't have left WFAN in year 1, 2, or 3. I wasn't there yet. But I am at peace with my decision because I've done enough in 4 years. I've made enough money in 4 years also. Like, that's another thing. Somebody called and they're like, what are you doing for money now? And I'm like, do you think I'm poor? Do you think I have no money? I told you I grew up poor. I told you I grew up with no money. But do you think I just woke up one day and made this decision to leave a 6-figure job on the radio without putting money to the side and also having some other income? This was a family decision, and God bless my wife as well. Like I said, she works full time. We're good. But what I'll say is, like, I got to this point where I realized this was hurting me physically, mentally, emotionally, my family as well, my at-home life, and I was spinning my tires working at night. And not for nothing, I did not know that Craig Carton was coming back and all of the changes that they were going to be made. Like, I had no idea. I made my decision based on my own 4-year timeline. My first contract started on November 22nd. The last time they heard me on air saying, I literally signed off like, see you when I see you. That was November 22nd, 2021 to 2025. And then I made my announcement on the 24th on my own social media channels. And then a week later, they announced Craig Carton was coming back. They were giving BT and Sal the boot. They were moving Evan Tiki to middays. And I was like, nobody told me about this. Wow. So, like, not for nothing as well, they weren't going to pair me with Craig Carton, and I knew that. I never worked with Craig. It wasn't like they were going to give me a, like, I kind of knew. I knew I had run my course as far as doing nighttime radio, and I'm blessed that I did it for 4 years. And it's funny because anybody that thinks I was fired or anyone that thinks that, like, they kicked me to the curb, like, when you hear me this Friday or when you just listen to the Nighttime Now or just read what people are writing online, do you think they would push out Keith McPherson? Do you think they would push out someone as talented as me, someone as diverse as me, literally the youngest host, the only black host outside of Tiki? But I always say, like Bart Scott and Tiki Barber being on the radio as former black football players in New York, that's way different than a young black guy that didn't go pro, blazing a trail and getting in there. Like, you think they're pushing someone like that out? No. This was me. This was my decision. I don't think they really wanted me to make this decision, and that's why they tried to slow play it, but I could not slow play it any longer. I made that decision to go and post it on my Twitter, Instagram, and everything else, and it went viral. And what I'll say before I kick it back to you is God is good. God is the greatest, because when he puts a feeling into your chest, into your gut, into your soul that I can't do this anymore, this isn't right for me anymore, I have to take a jump and a leap, that I was scared to do for 2.5 years.
Mm.
He sent a bunch of angels my way. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with important, influential people checking on me the last 2 months where I'm like, these are people I looked up to. These are people I respect. And then it comes back around full circle. Why don't I pay it forward to the people trying to get to where I am? Because I'm up here with these people. These people are calling me and checking me. People that are on TV, people that are on radio, people that are executives, people that are decision makers in New York City are calling me. And that's based off of relationships I've made through the last 4 years of being on the radio. Now that I'm not on the radio, I really can stand on it's me. It's not the radio.
Right.
It's who I am. It's how I talk, how I make people feel. And so I just want to pull people up as well because I know I'm going to be good. I know I'm going to be better than good.
No doubt. And that's tremendous. And it's interesting, too, because the one other thing I want to mention before we get to some sports is knowing that you made this pivot, considering everything you just said, and now it's almost as if that you're getting into so many different other spaces, which is great, whether it is live streaming, obviously still doing, FAN spot duty on top of, I'm sure, branching out to other things. So that's the thing I'm curious to find out about. What else does Keith McPherson have going on from this moment, let's say, for the next, obviously you can't look into a crystal ball to see how it's all going to play out, but from a standpoint, what is the game plan now, considering that you've made this pivot?
I always tell folks, never reveal half of what you know.
No, that's true.
I always tell folks, keep your plans private until they're permanent. So until there is ink signed, and I'm under contract right now with WFAN, until there's another deal, another contract, I can't tell you, but I'll tell you this. My first big break was Yes Network. I was put on a group of like top 10 people you need to follow on Twitter if you're in Yankees Twitter and you're a Yankee fan. And what made me stand out was that I did the podcast. I did the straight-to-camera video talking about the Yankees. The Yankees faced the Blue Jays in a 3-game set in Toronto. They took the series. Blah, blah. I did all of that. But then I also was getting on the train, going to the game, picking the camera up and being like, we outside, and showing people what we do outside. You ran into me at stands, and like I have been to stands, Billy's, Twins, all those spots. The dugout. I've been there 500 times. So people were starting to get a window into like, okay, not only is this guy a polished podcast host, he's got some good knowledge, and he's a man of the people. He's pulling up with the people that don't do podcasts, but like the real fans, the bleacher creatures, whatever. So like that first big break that I got, the Yes Network put me on TV. They gave me 2 of my own commercials in 2019, and I cried. I'm telling you, I cried tears of joy because the first one they didn't pay me, and the first one a lot of time is free. Second one they asked to follow up. I was like, you got to pay me this time, and they paid me what I asked, and I literally just like tears just came out. I'm like, I did it, I won.
Wow. Fast
forward to 2022, another moment. I go to Jacksonville, Florida after I go to spring training, and I meet up with my grandfather and my grandmother who put the Bible in my hands, who baptized me in Jacksonville, Florida, who put, the Lord Jesus Christ into my life. And I go down there and I thank them. I come back. I get a message from 2 producers at MLB Network. They're launching a brand new show. They want me to come in for rehearsal to see if I could be a potential fit for their panel. They have a panel of 3. They're thinking about making it 4. I go to 2 days of rehearsal. I crush it. I steal the show. I get the most laughs from the crew. I like flow in the conversations and add little things differently than the other 3 people who were a beat writer, a former player, and a professional TV host. I just come in there as a fan. So I do the first season of Off Base on MLB Network Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. live. First time I ever did live television. So where I'm going is I need to get back on TV. I need to get back to television. It's now been 4 years since I've been on television. It's now been 7 years since that Yes Network stuff. I think the next step is TV and definitely video. And I'd like to pop back on on people's TV screens and streaming. And there's so many different options now. I did the radio, and the radio was amazing, and I have that on my resume. They can't take that away from me. Right. But I need to be seen. I'm not the worst looking guy, but I'm not the best looking guy. but I'm not the face for radio type of guy either. And like a lot of these guys on the radio, they're fat boys. Like we gonna run together. We gonna run when it gets warm. Like I'm in shape, bro. I got the long hair. Don't care. I'm not a baldy. Like I gotta get on TV. I gotta get back on the tube.
I hear that. No, and that's good. And yeah, I want to talk about the running thing at the very end because I know a lot of people that are in the chat right now, and of course it's you and I. I'll get back to those comments later on, but it's one of those things where, as I shared with you, I ran up Broadway. I figured out what the hell. Let me close out the year in grand fashion, doing something that I love, and then I just brought it up to you. Here I am. I guess I'm bringing it up now. I wanted to save it to the end, but well, I'll put a pause on that because now I want to talk about, and that's great. It's great to hear what you have, and of course you can't reveal that. You want to make sure that once it's in ink and then you can put it out for the world. So, and I know whatever it is that you're going to do, you're going to rock it. So that goes without saying.
I'm going to go hard. I can't wait. What I'll say is I want to still do WFAN in a part-time capacity and do some fill-in spots because there are so many people that reached out to me and just told me what I mean to them. But I just think, here's another one of my phrases: evolve or dissolve.
No
if you
doubt.
keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're never going to get different results. If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to be stuck. I'm up for the challenge. I just put a huge challenge on my plate walking away from a nighttime radio show, a solo radio show in New York City. What will he do next? Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Without question. And that's the thing, too, because I know the same with me. Obviously, I didn't work in radio, but I worked in corporate America. I got tired of it, just like you, losing sleep, stress with dealing with attorneys and things of that nature. And it's going to be 2 years next month. And I understand. I got a patient wife. Thank God for her, as I'm sure, obviously, with your situation, too. But it's one of those things where it's like, I'm going to go hard. I'm going to go all in because if I don't want to be 65, 70 years old and say, why didn't I do that 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Yes. No regrets. The only regret you would have is don't get those golden handcuffs either. Excuse me.
No, exactly. You know about those golden handcuffs. I don't want those. And that's one of the reasons why
it's a trap. It's a trap, bro. You think because that check is coming in, you have that money. That's not happiness. That cash is man-made, and there's a lot of different ways to make money. Try to pair your passion with your profession, and you'll be a lot better off. It's not easy to do, but so what? Go on the journey. Take the challenge. Climb the hill. Climb the mountain. See what's there. And, I try to motivate people and inspire people to chase their dreams, literally, because doing something else that somebody else wants you to do over and over again, year after year, that's not it, man. There's so much opportunity out here now.
Definitely. All right, I'm going to get to some sports because I don't want to be mindful of your time, and I know I probably got about 8 minutes or so. So, for starters, Yankees. And I know, obviously, a huge Yankee fan that you are. And I know we talked about this the other day. But with all the Yankee fans that I'm sure have been up in arms, I get it that Cody Bellinger re-ups, which was huge, considering that the way this offseason has gone. But obviously, you're always not even a glass half full. Your glass is always full, despite the fact that I'm sure you probably look around and you say, hey, Dodgers are doing this. Even the Mets are doing that. Teams in your division have made some moves. And the Yanks are pretty much have stood pat. Your thoughts as spring training, when you think about not spring training, but pitchers and catchers are literally 2 weeks away from today. Your thoughts about this upcoming season?
Yeah, I just think that Yankee fans have grown to be toxic, crybabies, spoiled, and just misinformed, unaware, and jaded. I put a video out the other day. I'm like, are y'all that jaded because they haven't won the World Series in 16 years? Imagine being the Blue Jays. They haven't won since 93. They were right there, right? But You know what? Those Blue Jays fans can't wait for next season. Oh, well, Keith, look at the moves they made. They added Dylan Cease and Tyler Rogers and Okamoto. Yeah, but they lost guys too. The Yankees didn't lose anybody. Yeah. The Yankees are leaning into cohesion and chemistry and clubhouse under Aaron Judge. And the run it back term, I'm starting to not use the run it back term because Garrett Cole wasn't on this team last year.
Right.
When Cole comes back, that gives you an ace with a new arm. And their pitching depth is crazy. They could still make a trade, make a move, and they could get better at the trade deadline. The games have to be played. I'm not looking over at somebody else's lawn and seeing what the Dodgers have done or what the Red Sox have done. And the Mets have had a great offseason, but how many times have you seen the Mets have a great offseason and it doesn't amount to anything? So I just think Yankee fans got to pump the brakes on. They're bringing back the same team that failed. Doesn't mean they'll fail again this year. That team had the best offense in baseball, the best offense in the outfield. That team was tied for first place. And so I understand the Yankees feeling like it ain't broke, don't fix it, in the regard of, like, we don't need Kyle Tucker. We don't need Bo Bichette. We don't need to go out there and start tweaking things and doing too many things because, like, we were right there and we pissed away a lot of games. Putting Mark Leiter Jr. on the mound, putting Loizaga on the mound, putting Devin Williams on the mound, putting Luke Weaver on the mound, playing Jazz at third base, playing DJ at second, going into the season without an actual third baseman. Cabrera gets hurt. Then you got Yorbit Vivas and Oswald Peraza. That's a hole in the lineup and in the field. Like, the Yankees did a lot of stupid stuff last year that if they learn from, and this team plays about the same as they did last year, I think they can win the same amount of games, if not more, win the division, maybe be the number one seed in the American League, and then let the chips fall where they may. Wouldn't it be a great story if the Yankees can get back to the World Series, and if it is against the Dodgers, avenge your loss from 2 years ago and protect your own history by not letting them three-peat?
100%. And that's a very good outlook, especially from someone, like you said, the fans have become toxic, which is kind of weird because Yankee fans that I know, yeah, they've been a little bit jaded because of what's gone on. And obviously a lot of that stems from the moves or maybe the lack of moves that Brian Cashman has made, on top of Aaron Boone maybe not holding his players accountable for base running blunders or fundamentals, things of that nature. And that'd be my only pushback, but you're absolutely right. I mean, this team, they're still loaded. They still have a bunch of big-time stars on this team mixed with some youth. So it's a situation where why wouldn't they be able to succeed going into next year, despite the fact that, yeah, the fan base is tired of maybe seeing Aaron Boone's face or sick and tired of Brian Cashman not making any deals, or Hal Steinbrenner say, hey, why can't you be just a little bit like your dad was? And I guess I get it, but that's living in this territory in New York, because I'm sure for those fans that are out there that look at their team and think that, yeah, we could get to a World Series, but then halfway through it's like, it's almost having, like, I hate to say it like this, it's almost they have like that Philly dynamic where the Eagle fan wins a Super Bowl and then they walk out of the Lincoln Financial and it's like they curse their team up and down. It's like, wait a second. What, have you just forgotten that your team just won last year? But
yeah, it's
unfortunately,
crazy.
fans are going to be fans, and they're going to overdo it more than they temper it.
And that's why people hate Yankee fans. The Pittsburgh Pirates fans are like, you guys don't know how good you got it. You go to the postseason every year. You won a round last year. You have the best player in the game. Like, calm down, relax. Like, Hal Steinbrenner's never selling the team. Brian Cashman's never getting fired. No. And Aaron Boone could be, honestly, in his last couple years, and I think that's going to create a level of urgency. We also are walking into a lockout. That should create a level of urgency. Win now. Right. You got to win this year, and I feel like they believe they have the pieces. If they're wrong, I'm going to kill them. You're going to kill them. Everybody's going to crush them if they're wrong. But what if they're right? We don't know. That's why we wait and see. That's why we go to the stadium. That's why we watch the games. They might be right about this one, and I kind of have an inkling that they are. I just feel like there's something to be said about chemistry, cohesion, and the same guys being in the clubhouse, being in the lineup, and if they're healthy, they're going to go to war together, and they're all going to have the same goal, same mission. We got to get back to the World Series and win it. We got to get back to the postseason and right those wrongs. Even, and I know I'm talking a lot, but that's why I'm the guest. Even the Blue Jays series last year, when you think about how those games went, if the Yankees won one more game, they wouldn't have had to play in that wild card round against the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. And then they would have had the home field advantage against Toronto and would have been able to line up their pitching differently. I guarantee you the Yankees think that. I guarantee you the Yankees sleep at night because they're like, it was one game that changed our whole fate last year. Run it back.
Absolutely. No, and that's a great way to look at it. Not even just a good way. So, and speaking of which, do you think that Major League Baseball, that Armageddon is going to come December 1st of this year to where we may not see baseball in 2027?
Well, I don't know if there's too much money. Like, we're going to watch the first game of the season on Netflix this year. I'm going to do a whole thing on it. I can't wait because I just want to see how Netflix presents baseball. I'm going to assume they do a good job. Apple does good enough job, and Peacock does a good enough job.
Right.
There's too much money in baseball right now. After that World Series that they had last year, the ratings between Canada and all of America and the Dodgers going for back-to-back championships, there's too much money in baseball for them to actually miss games. But there's going to be a lockout, and there's going to be a battle, and there's going to be a back-and-forth war. I just hope that somehow they can get to a resolution before it cuts into spring training and then cuts into the season. But like, not for nothing too, a lot of people have talked about shortening the season. We might end up seeing the first shortened season. We might have a 135 game season. You know, we might have a 130 game season, and we'll see how that shakes out.
I just hope that there's baseball next year. And I understand salary cap to the players. They don't want to hear that. I don't know if that's going to get brought up by Rob Manfred and the owners. But again, we'll just have to wait until then. We can't really get stressed out or even worried about it now. Let's just see how the season plays out. And maybe they'll come to some agreement and a kumbaya to where they extend that CBA for hopefully 10 years, not the 5 that they did back in 2022. So a couple of quickies. It's funny because for so many times, I'll never forget, on Saturday, I even tapped you on the back when we were talking about the whole Yankees troll, and I said, damn you for that, because, I'm a Met fan. And, of course, I take it in good stride. I'm not one of those to be triggered or whatever, but I know there have been a couple of times, and I know I didn't say it then. I figured I'd wait till now. I'm like, oh, I got to get Keith back. But I said, nah, let me chill because I know that's you, and which is fantastic. And, obviously, you've taken that, I guess you want to say Met troll, and have run with it. Now, was that something that just came naturally, organically, or was that something that you always look at the Mets as a little brother, and then one day it just said, I'm just going to take this and run with it, and then obviously you've been stuck with being the Met troll?
It's funny because a lot of people are running with what I've said now, and I clearly realize people haven't listened to my show and don't know me, but what I said was when I saw the reaction whenever I talked Mets and the way that I talked Mets, it was easy money. It was too easy.
It's low-hanging fruit.
I say that exactly. It's such low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, it is.
To mock the Mets, the LOL Mets, only the Mets can out-Mets the Mets, and troll them when they played like crap, they blew games, they had Hawk Tua girl come out there, they had Grimace, they had all this stuff. But then I also dubbed them the Make It Happen Mets in 2022 when they played well, when they had comebacks in 2024, when they got super hot, when they smacked the Yankees. I gave credit where credit is due. I gave analysis. And even this past year, I was one of the first people calling. I'm like, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make the postseason. They don't have the pitching. They don't have the pitching. Their pitchers can't go more than 4 innings. They're going to tax this bullpen. And by the time we get to the end of the road here, they're going to come up short. And people looked at that as me trolling. I'm not trolling. I'm telling you what I see. Juan Soto can't save you. Lindor can't save you. Pete Alonso can't save you. You need pitching, and more pitching. So whatever. I'll say this. I don't mind being known as a Mets troll because there was no other way for me to be widely known in the Mets fan base, right? I'm from the bleachers. I'm from the middle of Yankee Stadium. I was the only Yankee fan in 2014 to represent the Yankees in the MLB fan cave. I was on MLB Network as a Yankee fan, not a writer, not a former player, not a television host. So it's so much a part of my brand, the Yankees, that I could never actually get accepted into the Mets space as someone that really talks Mets baseball.
Right.
But I knew that the needling, the roasting, and the trolling would get enough of a rise out of people. And so if that is the emotion that I'm going to evoke, I'm going to evoke it every time. And if that is something that I'm known for, so be it. I'm not on the air anymore. They're still talking about me. I just had the 7-line repost a live I did with Carlos from Vintage Mets who was out there. I'm like, do you guys not understand you're just feeding into it? Yeah. And you know who loves it? The Yankee fan. I can't tell you how many times I met Yankee fans at the stadium or events that are like, keep giving it to those Mets fans. Love when you get at the Mets fans. Keep trolling those Mets fans. There's too many Met homers on the station. There's too many Met apologists on the station. And that's what I realized. Nobody had ever talked about the Mets like I did on that station because they were either afraid of the Met fan, wanted to play it neutral, or they were Met fans themselves.
No, and that's the thing. And you're objective about it. And that's the most important thing because that's where your credibility stands out because it's easy, like we talked about, low-hanging fruit. And let's say even if the Mets, when they played the Dodgers, it could have been easy when they're down 3-1. Of course, I'm sure in your heart of hearts and just like every other Met fan thought the series was over, but you really could have pounded on them then. But right, you looked at it the whole ride and gave them all the credit in the world. And that's the one thing that I respect because obviously you have whomever it may be, whatever trolls for whatever team, they're always just going to continue to go, whatever, as opposed to saying, you know what? Yeah, I give you guys a bouquet. You didn't win the World Series, and that's what it's all about. But, hey, you guys came out of nowhere, did what you did, and kudos to you. But now here we are, 2026, after the year that you just had last year, and it's almost like, there goes that, just ready to pick that next piece of ripe fruit from the Met fan, considering that Devin Williams and Luke Weaver and
that was easy. That was hilarious. Like, I mean, and so some people can't separate the internet from the radio. On the radio in New York, here's another two teams that I'm not a fan of that I've trolled in the past, but like not when they're in the playoffs and it matters most. I was the first voice on 2 years ago when the Rangers were playing the Panthers to try to go to the Stanley Cup final.
Yes.
I'm a Devils fan, but I watched those games and I got on every night and I talked about the Rangers as a New York radio host. The Knicks, I'm a Nets fan. The Knicks are going on their run, and I'm watching the games against the Celtics literally in Yankee Stadium, driving down from the Bronx to Lower Manhattan to host my show, and it is not about me, my fandom, or trolling. So going back to the Mets, when you were saying, like, you know, I watched them beat the Brewers. It was miraculous. I watched them beat their arch rival, the Philadelphia Phillies. I have no reason to root for Philly. And same thing with the Dodgers. The Dodgers smacked them with a 9-0 game, an 8-0 game. Yeah. But being the first voice on in the city, because ESPN Radio goes to a national show at night, I knew I had a responsibility and a duty to do the job for the local market, where it wasn't about me, it wasn't about trolling. I picked my spots. I knew when I could troll. But like, even when they lost, that's not a spot to troll because people's emotions are high. They're hurt. They're depressed. Absolutely. They're sad. The season's over. That's not when you troll either. But people don't remember that. They will blanket me as a troll, but they won't speak on when I pick my spots, and they also won't separate the internet from the radio. I troll all day on the internet. That's what it's for. There's a bunch of people on the internet trolling that are anonymous. You can't see their face and name. I just got the balls to do it under my face and name. But when I've gotten on the radio, I've been professional. I know how to do it. I know when it's time to make jokes and roast and laugh. I know when it's time to be an analyst, give perspective, share my knowledge and insight on the game, the team, the players, and what went on.
Absolutely. And the other thing in reference to just that whole dynamic when it comes to trolling, because like you said, there's a lot of keyboard warriors, et cetera. And I know we talked about this now a couple of years ago, where the threats, the people that are coming out of the woodwork, like saying certain things. And I understand that you leave yourself open, not to be targeted, because what you're saying is what's on your mind. You're not saying anything that's outlandish. But of course, like you said, fans are going to take it to the hilt. Their emotions, all of a sudden, they become unraveled. And how do you fight that? And we talked about haters before, but how do you combat that to where you know that these people aren't going to say anything if they were standing right in front of your face, but to try to extract those emotions? Because, hey, anytime you read something that's negative, that's directed towards you, God forbid your family, of course it's going to strike a nerve. It's
got to become water off a duck's back. It's got to be nothing. You got to be immune to it. You got to, like, literally be Teflon to anything, impervious to negative comments. But because I was a social media manager at MTV, at Fubo TV, and Rock Nation, I have these eyes that just can look through all of this stuff, and I pick my spots. Sometimes I will reach in there and pull somebody in and be like, hey, let me check you real quick. But like yesterday, someone said, I hope you end up like Thurman Munson. And like that hurt because I did Thurman Munson's gala and I connected with Diana Munson, Thurman Munson's wife.
Right.
And she told stories about her daughters and him flying home and how good of a dad he was. And I'm like, see, like, you don't deserve a response because you don't even realize someone like me is affected by that because I know his widow.
Right.
You know, someone else said, because I replied to the 7 line and I was like, I'm repairing my image with the Mets fans. Now that I'm off air, I'm doing a lot of lives. I'm doing a lot of shows. I'm getting to know Met fans. Don't be surprised when you see me on the Shea Bridge. And someone replied, when I see you on the Shea Bridge, I'm going to rip you a new asshole. And so I responded, that's highly unlikely, but see you then.
Right. Yeah. And I did read that comment. I'm like, yo, I mean, seriously, we're going to come out like that. But again,
like
keyboard warriors, et cetera.
See you then. One, you're not like that. You're hiding behind a cartoon image online.
Yeah.
2, nobody should fight in the stadium. I've been in the stadium too many times. You do not want that charge with NYPD. You do not want the NYPD to kick your ass and drag you out of there. 3, like, not for nothing, and it was funny because Vintage Mets said this on his stream. He was like, yo, I pulled up on Keith to see, you know, what he was like, and all that shit he was popping. He's like, I'm gonna let some of y'all Met fans know Keith is bigger than he looks on the phone. He's like, Keith is a legit 6'2", 200 pounds. Like he's not a little guy. And I'm like, that's what I'm saying. All these threats, I've had people say they were going to come to WFAN and wait for me and beat my ass. Some guys like, I'll drag you down the street by your hair. And sometimes I play into it, I get on, but for the most part, it's empty threats. I've been around some real tough guys. I've been around some real gangsters. I've been around some guys that have done things and put hands on people, and they don't talk like that. They don't. Real killers move in silence. Like they're not going to write on the internet. Like, first off, that's incriminating yourself. Second off, that's not tough. So, man, I never mind the threats and the nonsense. It's so goofy. It's all fake. The internet is all fake.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, a couple of quickies then. I got to ask you about Bill Belichick. I know I was, just like everybody else was surprised, but I think twofold. One, I understand the cheating scandals, and some of these writers probably looked at that and said, I'm not going to put him in on the first ballot. The other thing is, too, and correct me if I'm wrong or just tell me, Jay Reels, you're crazy. I think part of it has to do with considering that Robert Kraft is going in or could go in as a contributor, and knowing that Kraft and Belichick to go into the Hall of Fame the same year. I understand it sounds a little maybe conspiracy theorist-ish, for lack of a better term, but I can almost sense that considering this is a victory lap for Robert Kraft, let's face it. Considering they're going to the Super Bowl, they're on the verge of winning a record 7 Super Bowl. Am I crazy to even think that, say that? Or
no, you're not.
A lot of it has to do with, obviously, his past, Spygate, Deflategate, et cetera.
I haven't put a takeout on it yet. Maybe I'll do something later just off the cuff real quick.
Uh-huh.
Your line of thinking is great, and let's work backwards. So Robert Kraft is in this upcoming Super Bowl. And Robert Kraft, is he on the ballot, or is he confirmed that he's going into the Hall of Fame as an owner?
I think he's on the ballot. I don't think it's confirmed yet that he's going to go in, but you would think, based on what you're about to say, or at least I figure what you're going to say, there being at the Super Bowl,
Jerry Jones is
in. Is going to be it for him.
Jerry Jones is in.
Yes.
And Robert Kraft is 84. God bless him.
Yeah, no doubt.
He'll be 85 this year.
Mm-hmm.
He just made it back to the Super Bowl without Bill Belichick. So ding ding, we got two things. Robert Kraft and this being his party and his moment and his time first, because he's in the Super Bowl. Also, ding, he's in the Super Bowl without you. You know who else got to the Super Bowl without you? Tom Brady. That's 3. Let's also work backwards, but in here. You left the Patriots after winning 4 games, and the coach that you appointed, your heir, your coach in waiting, Gerard Mayo, won 4 games, and he got fired. Ding. Yeah. Not good. You went to UNC Chapel Hill and was supposed to save the day there. They were just as bad. Ding. That's 5 things.
Yep.
Chapel Hill football didn't get improved by this almighty greatest coach of all time. Oh, if anything, there was more nonsense and scandal brought to them because of, ding, Jordan Hudson, your 25-year-old girlfriend that you're pee-whipped by, that tells you what to do and controls you, and it's not a good look for you. So that's 6 things. Oh, you cheated. We also have Deflategate and Spygate under your watch. Cheating can't be rewarded. We can't reward cheaters out the gate. That's 7 things that we can put against you over your 6 Super Bowls. Granted, he has 8 because I know, but like 6 as a head coach. Granted, I know he has 8 as a coordinator with the Giants. But I just built a case against Bill Belichick being a first-time or first-ballot Hall of Famer. That I get it. They made a statement. Now, people want to say, oh, it's completely wrong. How? It's based on a vote. It's based on opinion. You can't say it's completely wrong. In those people's opinion, they did not vote him in first ballot. People were up in arms about Eli Manning not getting in. It's not his time. Eventually.
Oh no, I think next year for sure, unless the Patriots go back, and next thing you know, Rob Kraft will be just doing a party or having a dance and partying, considering that it would be another year for Belichick to not get in. But of course, he's going to get in. But I just tried to connect the dots, and that's what I saw, at least for this year. Maybe him not getting on the first ballot, on top of the cheating and everything else that you just diagrammed, which was obviously picture perfect. All right, and then the last thing too, because I can keep you on all day, Keith, as you know.
I know. We're about to get to one, but you know how Deion Sanders said that like there should be tiers and rooms in the Hall of Fame? I think people heard that, and now first ballot Hall of Famer is like that upper echelon room, that penthouse, that tier of like, no, these guys are in a league of their own. Bill belongs in that group, but somebody decided that he won't be.
Yeah, and you know what? Can I just throw this out there, and then I'll wrap up with the running thing. What are your thoughts about Andrew Jones making it to the Hall of Fame?
I mean, I'm happy for the brother. I think it's also like a younger generation of fans that need to see him get in. Him and Carlos Beltran. I'm glad that they got in. I forget how many more opportunities either one of them would have had. But I didn't have a problem with Andrew Jones getting in. There's a lot of people that feel like he's the best fielding center fielder they've ever seen. He is a champion. The way he came into the league, he played for some story franchises. I don't have a problem with Andrew Jones being in the Hall of Fame.
And are you a small guy room, or at this point, considering the way the Hall of Fames are in all sports, it's, hey, as long as their credentials and what they've done on the field, if it's obviously close for them to be in a Hall of Famer, then you're more than welcome or more than accepted for them to get in.
I think at this point, these kids are going to grow up, and when they're our age, they're not going to care about the Hall of Fame. They're not going to go to it. They're not going to watch this. It's going to be a thing of the past, so who cares? It's so tainted already by these writers and their egos. It's not going to matter. No one's going to care. It's going to be one of those things that don't even really move the needle in 10, 20 years.
No, and you know, and that's sad when you think about it, because who knows what this world's going to be like in 20 years, like you said. If anybody, they probably won't even draw flies to the Hall of Fame at that point. Right. But, hey, that's for then, and obviously this is now. And before we wrap up, I know the other day you were on the treadmill, and it's funny because I have not ran since New Year's Eve.
Okay.
And that's all on me. No excuses, et cetera.
I got to run today.
What's that?
I got to run today. I walked yesterday. Sometimes I'll do the like 12 incline on 3 and get that good sweat. I got to actually run today. I got to run 2-3 miles today.
Oh, all right. No, and I'm going to run. I'm going to go to some trails that are not too far from me Saturday, because I'm down to run trails.
In the snow? With the snow?
Yeah, I've done that in the past. I have, and I'm willing to do it. I don't care. It's almost like running on the beach.
I guess because it packs down under you. As long as you got some good like boots to run in. Nah, yeah, I can't do that. I can't see myself doing it.
Yeah, no, I have some good trail shoes, which should work. So that's what I'm going to do. But yes, there may come a time for those who are out there watching, listening, etc., that this brother on screen with me right now, as we just talked, where as the weather gets warm, what I did on New Year's Eve, we're actually thinking about doing that same route from Battery Park through Broadway, up Broadway to the Bronx. So we're definitely going to stay tuned for that, and we're going to chronicle it. We're going to do, I'm sure when the time comes, we'll do something. Who knows? Maybe even do something for a charity. I know we haven't discussed that, but I want to make this an experience not only for both of us, but who knows? If anybody's willing to hop on board, whatever, we could talk about that as we get further. But just know that yours truly and Keith McPherson are planning to do a run up Broadway to the Bronx from the Battery.
I'm down, man. I just think it's a different kind of challenge for me. I used to run a lot more miles, and like I said, now I'm going to work towards it. I'm going to really get the conditioning of running more on the treadmill. And I usually run hard. I'm running at like 8, 9. Nice. But like for like a 13, you said it's 13 miles?
Yeah,
or
it's 13 about a half marathon.
Yeah, well, for that you run at a pace. So I got to start pacing myself, and I think it'll be cool. It'll be something different for people to see us do, and I'm looking forward to it.
And for you to just be open-minded to want to do that is a testament to you, my man. Absolutely 100%. Keith, I enjoyed every second of it. Hopefully we'll have you on somewhere down the road. And obviously for those out there who have watched you here over the last 45 minutes or so, let them know where they can find you, and also listen to you too, considering that you're going to be on the Fan there Friday night.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you're in the YouTube chat, my YouTube is McPherson Brand, because my LLC is McPherson Brand. It's a company that I actually started with my wife and my sister and my son in mind. Nobody in my family ever started an LLC business, so I made my LLC McPherson Brand LLC. But if you search Keith McPherson, it comes up. I go live like 2 or 3 times a week. I post every reel, TikTok, short about anything in life and in sports there. But if you do want to hear me in the radio format, I'll be on the Fan 7 p.m. on Friday till 9:20 before Brooklyn Nets basketball. And then I'll still be doing fill-in stuff for the next few months. And stay tuned for what I have coming up next in the spring. I'm working on a few different things. I will pop out again. I just can't tell you that yet, but follow me at Keith_McPherson on Twitter, Keith McPherson on TikTok, Keith McPherson on Instagram, and that's a good way to stay up to date on where I'm going and what I'm doing and what I'm posting.
Keith, you're the man. I appreciate you hopping on board with me today. Last minute. Always a pleasure. Much appreciated. And obviously, you have an open invite whenever else. The next time you want to come back on, we could even do it at night one time. We'll definitely schedule that. But all the best to you moving forward. And, we got your back out here.
You're the man, bro. Congrats on breaking 1K. I know what it takes to get there. I remember breaking 1K. I just broke 3K on YouTube. Like, it's a grind. You got to put into it. It's every day. But, like, once you get it monetized, it's like light at the end of the tunnel. Once you build a little bit of a community, you feel like it's really worth it because you're connecting with some of the same people over and over again. And just keep doing your thing, bro. You keep it real. You had me on that first time. I was happy to run it back this time. And, if you need something from me, just reach out. Just, similar to this. Hey, you needed me to pop on. We got it done.
Absolutely. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. And, we'll talk
All right,
soon.
everybody. Be good. I'm out of here.
All right. I was Keith McPherson, people. And I'll get to the comments in a second. I hope you enjoyed that spot. And that actually came up, quite honestly, last night. I reached out to him based on meeting up with him Saturday at the content creator shindig that they had. And I said to him, I said, hey, you got a date next month. You want to do it? And I figured maybe it'd be available at night because I'm sure during the day, even though wife works, son goes to school, but I wasn't going to assume that he was going to be available on a Wednesday at noon. And he says, I can hop on tomorrow for a half hour. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. And interestingly enough, I was going to have it to where I was going to segue to my next guest. I could take this off right now. Segue to my next guest, who, of course, I wish happy birthday. I'll give him another shout out here. My guy, J-Rod the Damager, and of course his lovely wife, Fishing Angel. Shout out to J-Rod again. Hope you're enjoying your day. I know you kick back in the bed, sofa, wherever it may be at this point now, because I know earlier was laying down as you're trying to recoup after that win last night against Nebraska. But yeah, I tell you, this was one, and I know I got a text earlier. I got 2 texts, actually, the wife too. If you could bear with me for a second, because obviously I was in the. All right, that's good. Bet. So now I just want to make sure I get that clear, but I'll get your comments momentarily before I get to some sports stuff. I also want to talk about the anniversary update, which I have, which will be March 1st on a Sunday. And remember, I was talking about it weeks past about doing it at a location. Well, that's changed. And I'll explain why as we get toward the end of this live stream. But yeah, I got to thank Keith for that. That was tremendous, knowing that I could hop on board just literally, what was it? Not even 24 hours ago is, like I said, a testament to him and what he's done as far as throughout his career and what he's doing now, et cetera. So let me get to the comments before I pivot. I want to talk about the SLOG to Super Bowl 60. And as I'm catching up on and I know there's a lot of them. So I know, Zip, we talked about McCarthy. The Steelers need to move on. That's all I got to say. And listen, if they brought him back, would I be averse to it? I wouldn't be averse to it, but Will Howard, let's see what you got. I understand he's not going to all of a sudden assume the starting position job, but let's see with the training camp, and who knows if Rodgers is going to be back in the fold by that time, because obviously I'm sure he's going to make a decision at some point, and that will really go a long way, whether or not he is not going to retire. If he retires, that's it, but they definitely need a new quarterback. They got to start anew, and Mike McCarthy, I'm sure, would want to groom a young quarterback, whether it be Will Howard. Mason Rudolph is a backup, as you know. But, yeah, that's all I could say pretty much at this point. So, all right, let's see. Gruden's a choice for OC job because Sirianni's a lame duck head coach. Nobody wants to coach for a living soon. Yeah, I could see that. Minnesota. Yeah, and Sirianni, here's the thing. A guy that's been to 2 Super Bowls and won one, and of course they boo the fans out of the stadium. The fans booed them out of the stadium, pretty much. And that's the thing. If Gruden does get hired as the OC, Sirianni's going to be looking over his shoulder. And obviously, he has those roots there dating back to the days of Andy Reid, when Reid was on Philly staff, of course, many decades ago. But, yeah, why not? Why not have him be the guy to run the offense there? I think if anything, Tom Brady hires Gruden for the Raiders job again. Everyone was fired over some. Yeah, well, yeah. Well, the thing is that would they go down that road? Would Mark Davis want to? And funny enough, they're still paying him off, aren't they? If they haven't paid him off, because he signed that 10-year contract. What year was that? Man, has it been 10 years already since that deal was signed with Gruden? But yeah, I don't know if they would go that route. And the Raiders, yeah, now I think the Raiders are the only team that doesn't have a coach yet, because the Browns just hired their guy. The Bills just hired Joe Brady, or really promoted him. Steelers, Browns, I guess they're the last of the bunch. Come to think of it. Yeah, Michigan last night. Yes, they did. 75-72. I know Fishing Angels said 75-70. Yeah, I think it was they won by 3 points. I say 3-point basket. Value, I saw that. All right, let's see. Tom Brady. Come on, clicker. Is too old to be in football anymore. Yeah. Who knows? Could you imagine? Just like Phillip Rivers. Well, they're going to draft Fernando Mendoza, but he could go in and back up. But obviously, he wouldn't be able to do that, considering he has 5% ownership there in the Raiders. Nebraska had clean shots at the end of the game to win. Michigan got lucky. Wow. Defense stretch. Yes, I know you did mention that. Hey, they survived. They survived, and good for them, because obviously that would have been a huge win for Nebraska. And I think they went into that game 24-0, if I'm not mistaken. And for Michigan, hey, it doesn't matter, right? Style points, won the game. That's all that matters. Even though I know I got hairy there at the end, Jay, but you know what? A win is a win is a win. You're certainly going to take it. Warriors, Jazz, and Utah. Yes, California time. Oh, there it is. McPherson Brandy came in with the year. That's his go-to. All right, let's see what we got. I got to go back to physical therapy tomorrow. I was supposed to go today. I said, no, I didn't want to do that. No, I hear that. No, good. I wouldn't have done that either, too, Jay. So good for you. Hopefully you're just laying up, taking it easy, and away we go. We need to show Keith and Jay. Yes, Zip. And you've been asking that for a while, and you got it. And I'll make sure that I'll get them again down the road as well. And, is my puppy up to no good here? What's going on? All right. I think that cup looks pretty. I didn't see the cup, J-Rod. I wonder what that was. I missed that. I know he had a cup, but the thing is that I could look down on my laptop to look at him, but then you're going to notice me looking down here as opposed to looking into the camera. So that's why I had to be locked in here. Yeah, Minnesota. Yeah, he's tremendous. As I hope you got that from my his time with us. Barclay Goodrow, 700 games. Look at that. Yeah, the former Ranger, Tampa Bay Lightning, won a cup in Tampa. Ray, what's happening, Ray? Glad you hopped on board. I'm sorry I didn't get to your comments. I don't know if you're still on with us, but no, I appreciate you hopping on board today. And I'm sure you got to see Keith and I and Keith do his thing. Ron Rivera interviewed for the Cardinals. Ugh. Oh, the Cardinals also have an opening too. That's right. Not only the Raiders. Yeah, 2015 season. Yeah, he went to the Super Bowl that year. Minnesota fast that sweet, but don't tell me the name of his YouTube channel. But still don't tell me the name of his YouTube channel? Oh, I'm sure that way. Hold on. I gotta go through the comments. What is she up to? Keith and Fisher, Fantasy Summers of Tony Bates and Joe Paningo growing up. I should have asked him that. I know I didn't get back. Oh, look at that. He did write back. All the above. Look at that. Awesome. You can listen to the haters, as you know. Yes, Ray, of course, following up on what Keith said there. Interview for the Eagles OC. Look at that. Sean Mannion. All right. I've thought about doing a fishing YouTube channel, but that's just not who I am. Absolutely, man. No, and you're right, Jay. We've talked about that off air. The only thing is, and you know what's funny? As I continue to be in this space and just try to build a channel, build my brand, I guess, so to speak. And I know I should build more of my brand. And trust me, social media, other than YouTube, and I've gone hard on YouTube, but as far as Instagram, TikTok, I haven't really gone full bore the way I should, except for maybe posting, more so Instagram, TikTok. Facebook, I've just posted a podcast, same for Twitter. And I know I need to get myself out there a little bit more. But here's the thing. If I were to be so fortunate to be on panels, to be in speaking engagements, etc., I'll share my game and how I got to where I got here, to where I'm going, or where hopefully, God willing, I get to. But the people got to put in the work. That's it. Because I'm sure you see these content creators. I know you're not really on social media, but you could give them all the tools. You could give them the everything, resources, etc. You got to go out and do it. You got to do it. Because creators think that, oh, I'm going to put out one video or two videos and it's going to become viral. If you look on my channel, I've posted, and I understand a lot of them are shorts, but I posted 2,700 videos. And I just cracked 1,000 subscribers, as you guys and gals know. So let's say even if you did that, Jay, and maybe not pull all the tricks out of your hat, but enough for people to get started, whatever, they still got to go out there and film themselves. They still got to go out there. Now, listen, I love to do this. So there hasn't been a time where it's like, for instance, when the Bill Belichick news came down last night, I'm like, oh, what angle am I going to use? What am I going to say? Blah, blah, blah. I'm not like, oh, Bill Belichick. Oh, I got to record another video. Oh, I got to. And you know what? If that's not their people's passion, they're not going to succeed. They won't. Because if they think that, oh, I love fishing, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, whether they use their phone, whether they use the mic on the phone or whatever, yeah, they still got to edit. They still got to post. They still got to put it across their platforms. And they got to do that over and over and over and over again. I mean, it's a lot of work. This isn't a thing where you post one thing and you expect, oh, I'm going to get tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of subscribers, followers, etc. Yeah, good luck with that. Unless you're going to do the clickbait, rage bait stuff, which obviously, to me, that shows no credibility whatsoever. And I'll never do that, as I've shared with you guys a million times. But yeah, that would be like me coming out with Bill Belichick yesterday. Bill Belichick is the worst coach of all time, and him not going to the Hall of Fame proves that. Now, of course, I'm not saying that, but that would be a clickbait, almost rage bait title to the Patriot fan out there, that if they were to see that, and I understand the algorithm is going to snatch that and it'll go through the roof, whatever. But come on. Seriously? You're not going to take that creator seriously. So that's why, unless people are going to do that, there's a lot of work. And of course, it's upon your discretion. If you feel like, nah, I ain't going to do that. And that's, hey, you have every right to take that way, 100%. But at the same time, even if you were to do that on your channel, they would have to do that and then some. So that's the one thing, the difference between someone like yourself and maybe someone who's has these dreams and aspirations, but when they realize that, oh, I got to keep filming, oh, I got to edit, oh, I don't know how to edit, oh, and that's when they're going to give up and be like, I don't want to do this. Which goes for, I mean, people who start podcasts. I think in the first, forget about the first year, like the first 6 months, like 90% of the people who start podcasts, they don't even continue them. Why? Because they think that, oh, I'm going to start a podcast. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And yeah, it may gain traction in the beginning, but then when they see that, oh, all right, I'm not getting that many views, or oh, now I'm not getting subscribers or followers, or oh, you know, I don't know if I want to do this today. That's the difference between the haves and the have-nots. So I'll just leave it right there. Minnesota Fat, the story's awesome, positive. Oh, yeah, Fishing Angel. Yeah, Keith he's got a lot of it. Yes, thank you, Val. You know, I appreciate you. Fishing Angel, happy is the best. Happy Sharks won, yes. So all non-New Yorkers, New York sports, yes. Legends were created there. They have a huge audience. They do. That's great. Yeah, I know. Red Wings did lose last night. Val, the way that it is, I live my life. I don't take too many things serious in life. Family, fishing, Michigan sports, that's about it. And also, you got to take serious your health. As you all know there, Jay. I'm just throwing that out there because you know me. What we got here? What's the name of your YouTube, Minnesota Fats? Wait, Minnesota Fats, you have a YouTube? Because I know you switch your names. So let's see. Minnesota Fats does. WFAN have a YouTube channel? Yes, they do. Yeah, it's WFAN, and they take his clips and they put it on there. And listen, I don't want to kill anybody on WFAN. I guess I could or whatever, but I'll say this. And I'll get to the Super Bowl stuff. I know, listen, here we are talking about all these other different things, and I appreciate you guys for that. Evan Roberts is great. He's with Tiki Barber. They work from 10 to 2. They used to have the afternoon drive from 2 to 6. Craig Carton, who has made himself a legend here, he doesn't really do anything for me. He does sports, but he also does, he's more like a Barstool guy. And not that he's from Barstool by any means, but yeah, he's more about like cracking jokes. He'll talk sports, but it's like that to me, that doesn't fly. I'm not with that. That may be for certain people. I get it. And they had guys prior to that, BT and Sal, which Keith referred to, Brandon Tierney, who he has a YouTube channel. But the thing is, they talk New York sports, which is fine because that's what they've done since they're on New York radio. But to me, the New York sports scene is lame. Let's call it as we see it. The Jets and Giants are horrible. All right, the Knicks have done well. The Nets, we know the Nets. Yankees, Mets, all right. The hockey teams, nobody really care for. St. John's is a college basketball team. Nobody's talking about Syracuse football. They're not talking to Buffalo Bills because we're not in Buffalo. We're in the tri-state area in New York City. So, yeah, to me, you know me, I come from the Nationals perspective because that's what's going to bring more people. Nobody cares about the New York scene unless you are from New York or a transplant or what have you. But Keith is good. He's really good. I definitely would tell you to listen to him. And I believe they stream live on WFAN. WFAN is there, maybe WFAN TV, or I think it's Minnesota put WFAN. That's their YouTube channel. Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, to keep sleep. I don't even know what the overnight is now. I know that, isn't there, I saw his name the other day. I forgot what he goes by, but sorry about the Red Wings. Yeah, Ray, no doubt. Ray did what he needed to do. That's, of course, in reference to Keith. WFAN, that's their YouTube, I believe. It's all good. Yes. Yeah, definitely check it out, Jay. Or follow Keith. Keith has some good content. He's really good. He's more than good. He's excellent. Look at that. Greg Popovich, the former Spur coach. Blacked out there for a second. Heat wave in Michigan, 15 degrees. Yeah, this morning was 7, and it felt like 1, and then it was 12 degrees when I went to walk the dog, and I went outside, and it felt good. Didn't even feel that cold. I felt like I should go for a run. And I talked about that. I'm going to go for a run Saturday, and I'm actually thinking about doing a live because I'm going to go through, just like I talked about at the end with Keith, in the trails where there's a bunch of snow, I'm thinking about running through the snow. So who knows? You may see some slips and falls along the way, which could be some Fail Army stuff. For those who follow Fail Army on YouTube. Not that they need a plug, but 4 likes, yeah. Don't forget to like the live. Thank you, Val. Always a big-time supporter. Yeah, they have been struggling. And Jonathan Kuminga's hurt now. You went pro, but you had reason to step back. Another contract, absolutely. Ray, 5 likes. I like that. Thank you, Val. You went pro, you had to step back for a reason. No, absolutely. 5K, let's go. No, we're going to go up Broadway, similar to the run that I did. Brian Duker, defense coordinator, Jets. Oh, look at that. I appreciate that, Val. I like the updates throughout the course of the live here. 100%. That's right. 1,000%. Peacock. Yeah, I haven't gone onto the Peacock. NBC has baseball coverage. They do this year, especially with the playoffs, wild card. I hope so, Jay, from your lips to the baseball god's ears. Bob Costas on the pregame, yes, the OG himself. Make it happen, Mets. I remember that. I don't care about basketball. You meant baseball this season. Absolutely right, no doubt. Hey, Orange. Oh, no, that's not cool. Is Bio in the room? I hope he didn't read that. I know, I still got to catch up on this. Let them have their fun over there in Queens, yeah. My beloved Mets. I would never make any money on the radio or YouTube. I have no other filter. I have no filter. My stuff will get flagged over time. Oh, yeah, if it's on radio, that's for sure. Oh, YouTube, you can curse on there, right? Unless you're going to start cutting people. But even then, I critique. I've gone on Stephen A. I've gone on, Do you think the Browns hired the right head coach? Yeah, I don't know how Tom Monk will do as a coach. I'm not in love with him as an offensive coordinator either. I mean, think about it. When they're supposed to run Derrick Henry, they don't run Derrick Henry. They don't run him. And in the championship game against the Chiefs a couple of years ago, they didn't run as much as they did in the second half, and the game was a one-score game. Yeah. Listen, I don't know how to do as a head coach. Coordinator, I'm not in love with him. Then I understand he does bring a little something, but he's not bringing Lamar Jackson with him. So that's what you have there. Let's put it this way. They could have done better. I'll say that there, Val. Jay, oh yeah, Jay's all Michigan all the time. Yeah, baby, we'll learn how to shut off the cussing. Yeah, they have to beep you out throughout. Love going back and forth with Keith. When he's met trolling, yeah, always keep it fun. He's one of the few that interact with listeners. No, he does. He interacts with everybody. And that's the thing, too. There have been a couple times I'm like, oh, I want to get back at him. But I said, nah. I said, I don't. Because I know he's not saying it with any harm. But, it's the truth. It hurts. Val Bianchi, the Browns can bring out John Matt. Yeah. Yeah, they're a disaster. I want to be a singer, but I know that'll never happen because people are judgmental about people. Fishing Angel, if you could sing, girl, have at it. I hope you're still with us here. I would think you are because I know you always stay to the end. Why not? Do it. If you're alive and breathing, do it. Don't let anything. So if you had a YouTube video, you're at a bar and you're singing or karaoke or whatever, and girl, if you could sing, I would tell you, oh, wow, you got the chops. Do it. Yeah, I've always been one. It's crazy. I know it's weird because when you get to a certain age, or I don't have the look, I don't have this, I don't have that. Do your thing, people. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Whether that means you want to sing, you want to dance, you want to, hey, Jay with a fishing channel, it doesn't matter. Because those people that are going to critique you fairly, those are your friends. If they say, whatever. And without saying it to be disrespectful, of course. But the haters, those people that are going to say, oh, look at this girl. Who does she think she is? Blah, 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 whatever. Oh, look at this guy. He's on a boat. He's filming. Look at this clown. Yeah, and what are they doing? The great David Goggins said it best. Haters are never doing better than you are. And that's the truth. So let them hate. Let them be judgmental, whatever, because I think even Keith said it best. Haters hate because they don't create. Creators who create need to collaborate. That's it. Because haters do not create. All they do is they create hate on people because they don't have the balls to do it themselves. I mean, straight up. So, Fishing Angel, I commend you and I encourage you to fulfill that. I agree with him. I wear a hat. That's right. Not going to put my hands on it. Yeah, of course. That's right. Agreed. And he even wrote back. Nah, no doubt. Ray. Spell check. I know the old spell check. Low scoring Super Bowl, Pats 13. Yeah, I like the Seahawks in the game. Keep them down 7 line. Queen should be welcome. Oh, that'd be interesting. You know what? Maybe, I know I got to check the date on that. And somebody told me that the other day to run that 7K, which I will do this year. I'm going to encourage him. That'll be something. Oh, you just subbed? Oh, good for you there. Jay, yeah, he puts out good content. He puts up real content, and that's all you ever want from people who are authentic and have some integrity and credibility. Oh, good for you, Fisher. I appreciate you guys. Big time. Thanks for the quality content. Enjoy watching the stream. All right. Hey, Jim, wait. Whether you're taking a dump, whether you're taking a leak, whether you were, I don't know, laying in your bed smoking a cigarette, I appreciate that. Yo, my man. I know he's not on anymore. Miss you, fan. Keep grinding. That is my cousin. JD, who I always talk about here. That is him. My former radio partner, my blood. And I just talked about him actually at the start when I talked about Super Bowl 30. Today's the anniversary. Oh, if he's still on, man, I'd love to see if I can have him hop on board. One day I'll have him hop on board with me. I know he works at a school during the day, so I can't believe it that he actually jumped on. Lots of YouTube fishing channels have been caught snagging fish, fishing off the limit. Well, Jay, that would right there, just reading that gives me the incentive to tell you to start your fishing channel. Why? Because, yeah, if people are doing that and fishing in off-limit places, giving fishing a bad name, this is where you could step up and say, nah, this is the way it should be. And you don't want to call anybody out. I get that. You don't want to start a war or even give them the time of day. We could say, you've come to, I'll just say, Jay's Fishing Channel because we do things the right way here. Let me show you. And that's it. Because again, people are going to be gravitated by your authenticity, by your integrity. They're not going to be in for the fake phony stuff or cutting corners or anything like that. Because think about it. If you're a creator, and I'm sure one of the reasons why, and I've profusely tell you guys a million times over, one of the reasons why I'm so blessed to do this is people like you who have hopped on board. And I'm sure the reason why is because, all right, obviously we're here to talk sports, whatever, but because I'm coming at a place of just being me. I'm not trying to be Stephen A. I'm not trying to be Dan Orlovsky. I'm not trying to be Colin Coward. I'm not trying to be Skip Bayless. I'm not trying to be anybody but me. Because I know with as much sports as I've watched throughout my life and putting it on this platform that I've been so fortunate and gracious to have. And for you guys and gals that come back every week, every time. And I know I didn't do my podcast pregame on Monday, which I should have got to at the top. I will do one tomorrow, I promise, 9:30, podcast pregame. But, yeah, I want to do things that are me, whether it was running up Broadway the way I did on New Year's Eve or to run in the snow out in the trails by me and talk sports or just talk about how running is a metaphor for life or whatever it is. Because, yeah, I'm not being somebody I'm not. I'm not going to be the guy that's like, hey, with standing on my chair and pounding my chest. That's tiresome. Not doing that. And there's a lot of people that do that. And if you just come across as a guy that, yeah, I love fishing or I love singing or I love sports or I love collecting trading cards or I love Pokemon cards or I have a gaming channel, whatever it is, and you love that and that's what you do and that you look forward to, or at least for me, I look forward to every Wednesday or 9:30 in the morning or putting up my podcasts every Monday and Thursday, then yeah, people are going to see that and be like, he's standing by what he's doing, so therefore I'm following him. And that's it. Thanks, you got me yeah, babe, from the wife. Hey. Yeah, that's right. Taking care of your health. And I know that was said a while ago. So I know I said that, which may have been prior to. But both of you are not wrong. I do. Oh, no, I know you do. I know you do. But, Jay, we want you here for – you just turned 42. We want you here for another 142 years. I know you're probably cracking up right now as I say that. But my husband tells me I have the voice of an angel. Yes, I'm sure you do. Fishing angel, 100%. Just caught this. Oh, I appreciate it, Casual Gamer. Thank you so much for hopping on board. Thank you. I appreciate that. Always love to have the more the merrier. Safe space. It's sad, makes me mad, but yes, that's been happening a lot lately. Yeah. And that's rough. Yeah, it is rough because, come on, you obviously people want to do the right thing. My friends and family told me I voiced an angel. Hey, share with the world. Share with all of us. I want to hear it. In fact, Fishing Angel, if right now you had one song to sing, not now that you're going to sing it, but let's say if you had an opportunity to sing one song that you love, that you know that you would knock them dead, what is that song? I'm curious. All right. Go Seahawks. The Rams feel amazing. Doubted this too. Listen, I picked the Rams to win. I'm not going to front. Listen, well, I got news for you now. Is there room for the Seahawks bandwagon? Because I'm on it. I do not want to see the Patriots win a Super Bowl. I don't. Because the Patriot fans, they've been coming out of the woodwork, and I've been listening to them on terrestrial radio, not local radio. And it is just, Patriots are back. Like, what? And I'll say this. I was going to get to the SLOG to the Super Bowl. Maybe I'll do that in the last 15 minutes. This Patriot offense is tailor-made for the Seattle defense. And not in a good way. Because the Ram fan's going to think that, 31 points or 27 points the Rams put up on them. We could score 27 on them. And who knows? Maybe they can. But I don't think they can. They scored 10 points, and 7 of them were actually gift wrapped by Jarrett Stidham. I understand second half bad conditions, but they scored 10 points. And the Seahawks defense is better than the Bronco defense. How do you think they're going to do in a stadium that they're familiar playing in? Not that that matters, but I'm just throwing that out there. They played there late this, last, well, no, we're still in January. They played them early this month in Santa Clara. And to me, that Seattle defense, they're going to want to put the pressure on Drake May to throw the ball. And I said this on the podcast Monday. He does not have a lightning. A lot of he throws a beautiful touch pass, but it's not as if this guy throws like Dan Marino. And I understand at times he has. I've seen it throughout this postseason, up close and personal. But yeah, a lot of his throws don't have a lot of zip in them. And if he's going to throw up balls up for grabs, look out. Trout fisherman YouTuber was just caught snapping fish. Female fisherwoman just, oh, wow. Yeah, you see, that's whack. I don't like that. See, that's equivalent to me calling out the creator that is out of line with their comments. And in fact, I caught somebody the other day. What did they say? Yeah, they said something stupid about the Patriots, about them being back. And here's the reason why they're back. And I'm like, wait a second. I understand they had a big year. And it was off the whole thing. Well, you can't say we didn't play anybody. We just beat the top 3 defenses in the NFL. Well, they were top 5, I should say. We just beat 3 of the top 5 defenses in the sport by beating the Chargers, who I think were 5th. The Texans were 1, and the Broncos, I think, were 3, and Seattle was 2nd. But the Chargers' offense is terrible. Not for nothing, number 1. Number 2, C.J. Stroud, it's not as if their offense is one to – they're not the greatest show on turf. And Denver's playing a backup quarterback. Oh, Jay Reels, those are excuses. No, it's fact. Have we seen Justin Herbert in the postseason before, how awful he's been, whether it was in Houston or having a 27-0 lead and they couldn't bring his team home with a victory? And C.J. Stroud, who never gets past the second round. So, yeah, to me, it's just deep end of the pool for them. So, but, yeah, no, I call out creators that are like that. I'm not with that. LA sports overrated. They don't win nothing besides baseball. They bought those rings. By the way, no salary cap growth. All right. Well, let's see. Is there truth to that? They don't win besides baseball. They bought those rings, by the way. Well, listen, I mean, you're not wrong, Orange. You're not wrong. But the Dodgers are going to look at that as spending. That's a baseball problem. That's a system problem, as we've talked about many times. And the Lakers, Luka, boy. I'm going to talk about that. That's February 1st. That Luka trade, that is the worst trade in sports history. Anthony Davis hasn't played. I mean, that has to be, seriously, that is in the running. And I'm going to come, I got that just right there. That's another vlog I'm coming out with. I got more vlogs coming this weekend. So stay tuned. All right, basketball, no rings. Football, no rings. Hockey, no rings. Now, Orange, are you from Seattle? Stop meat riding LA sports. They're brainwashing you. Brainwashing me? LA sports? No. I go by what I see. Listen, I'm a Celtic fan. I'm not rooting for Lakers. Dodgers, they're playing with the way the system allows them to play. How am I brainwashed? Oh, you are still one. Orange, where are you from? I may have asked you this. If I have before, my apologies, but I'll make sure I'll get it locked for sure. Listen, I'm a Met fan, Celtic fan, Steeler fan, Islander fan, Georgetown Hoya fan. I'm not an LA fan, sports fan. I mean, I may pick up LA from the standpoint of our guy Bio, who's in the room. He's not in the room today, but yeah. And listen, I can't stand the Lakers. As a Celtic fan, how can I ever root for the Lakers? Never. Lakers actually be in town this weekend against the Knicks. I'm just throwing that out there, but. And then Amazing Grace. Yes. I mean, you can't. Is there a better song out there to sing? Without question, Orange. Jay, I've been waiting for a long time, brother. Cheers, my man. No, cheers to you. And this is just H2O, of course. No, you've been waiting a long time. That's cool. And listen, I'm rooting for you guys hard. And I mean that, 1,000%. And if you're a Seahawk fan, again, are you from Seattle? I'm curious. Let's see. Who are you talking to? Who's even an LA fan? Nah, let him speak, J-Rod. No, that's right. Listen, it's all good. But I hear what you're saying. I know if Bio was here, that's our LA guy. And there's also Victor, I believe, from LA too, who's been in the room before. One of the recent followers and subscribers. Again, Orange, I can't stress it enough how I'm rooting. And this is going to be revenge for Super Bowl 49. So I hope. Time to celebrate. I hope they win. I do. All right, let me get to the SLOG. That is the Super Bowl. And then I want to talk about the 8th anniversary update before I sign off. Where is it? Here we go. We still got to wait another 11 days. And I understand we've been down this road many times. This isn't anything that, oh my God, I don't know if I can wait that long, but it is a slog. And the reason why I say that is for this reason and this reason only. As I've said, if you follow the channel, and in particular the podcast over the years, we are now slowly going into the sports abyss. And what that sports abyss is, the dreaded Sports Dead Zone Part 1. And people can say, what do you mean Sports Dead Zone Part 1? What are you talking about, J Reels? Well, once we get past the Super Bowl, I understand there's the NBA. I understand there's the NHL. And then college basketball before we wait for the end of March and then into April, which in my eyes is the best sports month of the year. And I understand people could argue October, NFL, college football in full bloom, baseball, playoffs, Road to a World Series, NBA season about to begin, NHL season begin. I get that. But April has the Final Four, the end of March Madness, the Masters, the tradition unlike any other, baseball season beginning, NFL draft. You also have NBA, Stanley Cup playoffs. That's 6 things off the top of my head that we could talk about. That by far is the best month. I mean, you crown a champion in college basketball. The Masters, I mean, that's the Super Bowl of golf. Baseball starting, that means warmer weather's coming. The start of the NBA, the road to the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Finals, and the NFL Draft. How's it get any better than that? But as far as Super Bowl Sunday, we still got to wait and wait and wait and wait. And you're going to hear all, including from yours truly, hand raised high in the air, you're going to have to hear all of the predictions, the X factors, the whatever. That's why I'm not going to talk about it until next Thursday's podcast. Whatever's happening in the NFL, any news and notes, I'll talk about it. But you think I'm going to start talking about the Super Bowl tomorrow? Oh, no, you'll be sick of me. Yeah, I'd be like, Jay Reels, we're going to talk about this again? So that's why it's a slog, because until you get to Monday night, which is media day, and media day is a joke anyways. You'll know people in costumes asking the stupidest questions. I mean, please, can I get a credential to the Super Bowl? Here's somebody that has been doing this in some way, shape, or form for a quarter of a century. Go back to the annals. I got actually audio cassettes and CDs. I can play them for you if you like. And internet radio, and obviously a podcast, live streams, etc. Why can't I get a credential to this? I understand I got to go out to Santa Clara. It's not like the Super Bowl's in my backyard, but I could go there and I could ask some credible questions and meaningful questions, not just, hey, what'd you have for breakfast? Or, hey, would you rather eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or tuna? Really? I understand you want to break it up a little bit. I get it, but come on. No, stop. So, yeah, it's going to take forever. And then the worst part about it is this. When you get to Super Bowl Sunday, it takes forever for the game to begin. It's not even about the game anymore. It's about the concerts. It's about the performances. It's about the commercials, which are a joke. The commercials are just terrible compared to what they were yesteryear. The singing of the national anthems, because now they include the second national anthem as well. You have the coin toss, which I get. Flyover, another performance. Oh, this one's singing, this one's this. Forget about the halftime. The halftime has been part of the whatever, and you can obviously turn it off or do something else, whatever. That I understand. But it's everything leading up to the game. I mean, it takes forever. And the thing is that we're not like Bio or Val on the West Coast where the game is starting at like 3:40, 3:45 their time. And it's 6:40. We've waited all day for this game to start. And watch. 6 o'clock where you're thinking, all right, they're still doing the pregame. They start the pregame at what, 6 in the morning? I mean, do we really need and I joke, but the pregame starts at like 1 o'clock. I mean, how many more storylines can you unpack? And I haven't watched the Super Bowl pregame in forever, but it's just, this is part of the SLOG. I mean, you're just going to be inundated and everything's going to be jammed down your throat. And I understand I'm a part of it. I get it. But at least I read the room. I know not to overdo it. I know not to be like, all right, guys, tomorrow we're going to start talking about why I think Sam Darnold is going to be this, or why I think this is Mike Vrabel's Super Bowl to win, or why I think in the shadow of Bill. No. Next Wednesday in the live stream, I'll bring up a couple of things, and then on the podcast, I'll talk about it more and break down my prediction, the game, etc. But no, I understand they're not going to scale it back to the following week, and they shouldn't, because this is how it's been other than a couple of years that the Gulf War, I know it was the week after, etc. But I'm not going to be that guy. And I love the NFL. And I understand when I have a chance to pound on it and pile on it, of course, I do. But I'm being real. I'm not doing it just because. But you guys are going to hear about it from now until Kingdom Come. And I'm going to temper that by saying when the time is right, or when the time comes, I'll talk about it. Could you imagine I start talking about the Super Bowl today? About, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to have the game of his life. Or, you got to watch out for Stephon Diggs. Or, wait a minute. Christian Gonzalez, he's going to lock down JSN. Why are we talking about that 12 days before the game? I mean, no, I'm not doing that. So, yeah, that's why it's a slog. That's why it's just like interminable. And, But I understand when the game comes, we'll be ready. And I am planning to live stream the game. I know I didn't live stream the games over the weekend. I didn't really announce it. I was going to go to my in-laws, but because of the snow, we didn't leave and we stood home. And I was like, I can't do that to my lovely wife where I'm going to watch 7 hours of football and then on top of it, have this stream of consciousness in her ear for 3 hours on top of the first game. I said, no, I just laid off. I was going to go to my in-laws, different story, because at least my wife would be there with my sister, or my sister-in-law, her sister, and their mom, and they could just talk amongst themselves and not be a part of me, my brother. He's not my brother-in-law yet, but my sister-in-law's boyfriend, my father-in-law. So you get the picture. But Super Bowl is a different story because everybody's going to be together. But I'll confirm that next week for sure. Maybe I'll confirm that on next Wednesday's live because I'm going to go to their house, and I don't know if they want to hear me babble for 3 hours or 3.5 hours. So just keep that in mind. I'll make sure to get that squared away, hopefully by next Wednesday, but just be locked into the channel and I'll be sure to let you know. All right, here we go. Let's see. All right, let's see. Let him speak. I was just wondering. Okay. Oh, he's just talking to all the people that brainwashed my boy Jay. Brainwashed me? How am I brainwashed? Everyone doubted us. Yeah, I understand. Oh, you can be upset. No, that's fine. You can rub it in, but I'm not brainwashed by the LA sports scene by any means. I am not. And I mean that sincerely. Listen, I like the Rams. What can I tell you? I had to see Sam Darnold. And listen, just like his coach said, he shut everybody up. And he's right. Shut me up. I'll be the first to admit it. But now he has to seal the deal. Sam Darnold has to follow that game up with a Super Bowl victory. And it doesn't have to be clean. Doesn't have to be perfect. Listen, Ben Roethlisberger won. And, listen, now I'm going to bring up bad. I'm not trying to stick this to you by any means. And, I won't even say that. I'll shut up. Because then it's going to look like I'm trying to pile on you, which I'm not. But if Sam Darnold, all he has to do is win the game. If he has an awful game and they win, nobody's going to care that he was 14 for 29, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and he threw for 150 yards. They win the game, nobody's going to care. So, but listen, I picked the Rams. I did. I'm not going to shy away from that. But give us what we deserve the spotlight. No, hey. But Darnold has to go out there and seal the deal. He has to. Run my birthday is the end zone for sports. After my birthday, the Super Bowl, and that's for a few months. Yes. Is the end zone for sports. Jeremy's in the room. I hope you're still with me, Jeremy. I think you are. Yeah, it's 150. All right. NBA, NHL, and college all about playoffs, but it does bring spring training then summer live. Live from the beach. You giving me thoughts here, Jay. Maybe. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll do that. That's a very good idea. Uh-oh, what is this? Bringing politics in the Super Bowl, which is garbage. Oh, no. Who's doing that? Did I miss something? Oh, geez. I hope that's not the case. We're going to eat dinner before the Super Bowl. Oh, yeah. You got to eat before. Hey, listen, I'm not going to. Oh, there's a video? What's that? There's a video, my bad. Oh. Hey, listen, I'm going to eat before the Super Bowl, too. Deleted my comment. So I didn't. Nah, Jeremy, it's all good. I don't know if you're still with us. I hope you are. That was just a minute ago. Thanks, Val. Nah, Jeremy, you're all good, man. Speak your mind. We're going to eat dinner before the Super Bowl. I'll do the same also. I know. On that one day, the night when I was watching the Ravens-Steelers game, I did the live stream. I had to eat because that was just a crazy day. And I generally don't like to eat while I'm watching, especially when I'm watching football. Especially if it's my team on top of that. But, yeah. So, yes, thank you, Val. I appreciate that. I appreciate all your comments. You know that. And I appreciate your time. My battery's running low. Oh, no. Where's my oh, goodness. It's over there. All right. Well, I'm probably going to start winding this down anyway. Let me see. Still here, I understand. I believe Donald can finish, dude. Listen, I'm more of a believer now, and I think he's going to seal the deal. I mean, why all of a sudden he's going to have a terrible game despite New England? And their defense is good. It's not great. But, yeah, I could see him having a big game, and I hope he does. His story is incredible, considering his trajectory, what he's done. And kudos to him. I'm rooting for him. I really am. I get it. No, and I appreciate you, Orange. You know that. Nothing personal. And I don't want you to think by saying, hey, whatever. That's not like a personal, that's just me just holding my integrity and being like, no, like what have I said? Right. Have I rooted for the Rams or have I picked the Rams to win? I have, as I've said. But it's not like, oh, LA is the best in basketball, and the Dodgers. Yeah, I've only said the Dodgers only because of the system and how they've been able to work around that. But I've also gone on the Dodgers too because with the whole Bobby Bonilla day with the Mets, how I want to see a Shohei Ohtani day, Tyler Glasnow day, Freddie Freeman day. Yeah. So it's okay. I'm sure it'll be a good game. And again, I can't stress enough how much I'm rooting for Seattle. Fishing Angel, thank you as always. With amazing grace. I won't forget that. Either teams win. Makes a Jet fan stomach churn. Yeah. Because Darnold, but I'm sure you don't want to see the Patriots win. We've seen enough Patriot wins the last 50 lifetimes. So, all right, one other thing, people. Let me just share this with you before I bid adieu. Here's an update. I know I was going to do this at a remote place, and I probably should still do that. But I'm thinking about doing another marathon anniversary show, which would be Sunday, March 1st. And that actually falls on the anniversary because my very first podcast was March 1st, 2018. And the reason why I'm thinking about doing another marathon, if you recall, for those who are on last year, March 1st, which was a Saturday, I did 5 hours. And I'm thinking about doing another long one because I'm going to have the apartment to myself. Think about that. So because of that, and I don't want to say just because of comforts in my own home, because remember, these establishments, especially the sports bars that I've been targeting, they play music. And I can't tell an establishment not to play music in the overhead speaker system. And obviously, I could get flagged, and therefore I could have my live stream cut during a live stream, and I don't want that. And listen, I'm not a big name. And listen, if I was a big name, they'd probably close the place down. Who knows? I mean, not that they would for me, but you know what I'm saying. Where they say, oh, we can't have music, he's live streaming, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, unless that changes, I'm more than likely going to do it here at the sports desk. But I just want to put that out there because March 1st, it'll be here before you know it. Think about it. It's a month from this Sunday. And February's 28 days. So if you do the math, today's 28th. It's in literally 31 days. 32 maybe. 28, wait, 29, 30, 31, that's 3, 28, that's 32 days. So I'm thinking about doing it here. And because of that, I'm really considering doing it in the friendly confines. But I'll keep you guys abreast in the live streams to come. So definitely stay tuned for that. I appreciate you too, Orange. I really do, man. Thank you so much. And yeah, go Seahawks. I'm rooting hard. Mike got me our first win against Ohio State. Oh, Vrabel. Yeah, listen, I know you can't root for him. That I totally understand. Oh, you going for a run? I'm jealous. That's good. For how long? I want to know. Party at J Reels. Let's go. Oh, listen. That'd be awesome too. One day, God willing, maybe for the 10th, I'll have to do it somewhere. By the 10th, I should be. I should say will be. Put that energy out there, right? Enjoy your run there, Orange. I appreciate that. That's good. And yeah, party, let's go. Let's go. Listen, I hope you enjoyed this live stream. Having Keith on, I have to thank him again for his time, sharing his story, etc. I plan to have more of those in the future where I have a guest come on like that and share their story. I want to get athletes on. That would be the goal. Oh, no, I hear you, man. You were waiting a long time. Oh, wait, I scrolled that all the way down. Yeah, I thought that comment looked familiar. But, yeah, I plan to do more of those people as we move it along. Party Boat live stream? Hey, that'd be good too. Why not? That's something we could discuss, hopefully somewhere down the road. But, yeah, with that said, people, I understand it was a little bit more unconventional. It's more about the comments. I didn't really go through topics. I mean, listen, NBA, NHL, nothing really sticking out right now. Baseball, as you know, spring training pitches and catches in 2 weeks. I don't know if anybody's up on the Australian Open. I'm sure you're not. But as you well know, yes, Fishing Angels, thumbs up here as well. You know, I appreciate you guys. Bottom of my heart. Great time. I hope you enjoyed the conversation I had with Keith. Obviously, there's a lot more to come down the pike. Definitely check the YouTube channel. I'm going to put out 2 vlogs this weekend, both revolving around my beloved Steelers. The anniversary this Sunday of their last Super Bowl victory. That is the gift that keeps on giving, this Antonio Holmes catch, as well as part 3 of a father-son and the Steelers Super Bowl 40 run, which is the 20th anniversary. So you got that coming down the pike. And any last-minute comments, this is your chance. I will tell the wife, absolutely. Because if you do or do not know, it's in the blood and the DNA, talking sports. It's birth, doing it, what it is that I love. And, of course, just trying to make a living doing so. Leave a comment for those who are watching the replay. Be more than happy to follow up. Obviously, a podcast pregame tomorrow. Let me get my banners up here real quick, people. Podcast pregame, as you all know. Any last thoughts, as you know, please subscribe. Yeah, you know that too. Latest podcast coming tomorrow. Absolutely. Podcast pregame 9:30. I know. I'll talk more about it tomorrow, why I wasn't on Monday's podcast pregame. But I'm also thinking about doing one Saturday, so keep in line for that. But as you know, from the South Bronx to South Beach to South Central, South Pacific, and all points beyond. Peace, love, and God bless everybody. Hope to see you guys on the podcast pregame tomorrow. Happy birthday again to my guy, J-Rod. Again, thanks to Keith. Thanks to everybody who hopped in on the room. Oh, my God, my battery's ready to die here. So before that expires, because my charger's over there. Peace, love, and God bless everybody. Thanks again for hopping on board. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy hump day. And until next time, on the flip.